Up to a point, respect my decisions. I didn't grow up in a hoarded house.
Yeah, by the time I came along, it was definitely hoarded.
3 months worth of food or 6 months worth of food. What does that look like, right? What do you think, Carla?
Say you were both given complete say and control over each other's house and possessions. Single and ready to mingle.
Single.
Hello, everyone. I'm sitting here with my sister, Sherry.
Her favorite sister.
My only one. A lot of you have been enjoying the series with her and left several questions for her to answer about her decluttering journey and what got you started along this path. So I'm just going to go through the questions and let's see what she has to say for herself. Is it difficult to declutter with a family member? How do you prevent hard feelings between you and your sister?
I think we get along pretty good. Like we have the same goals in mind.
Mm-hmm.
And Carla's pretty patient. She's pretty patient, and she does, up to a point, respect my decisions.
True.
I mean, I may see something else behind the eyes, but she does. She's respectful, and she does allow me to make decisions.
How is it to declutter with your other family members who are in the house?
That's a little bit more difficult because we each have our own idea of what's needed and what's not, and so something like I might want to keep, or they may want to keep, we may not agree on. And so space is limited. So we do have discussions on that, like getting rid of my favorite chair was one of them. We do have the same goal to declutter and to make things easier, but it is a little bit more difficult with direct family members that you actually live with.
For people who are sharing a home, and let's say one person, maybe you want to be more on the side of not even minimalism, maybe you want to downsize your belongings, but they might have a different idea of what that looks like.
Well, it's like the day when Julia went with me to take some stuff to Goodwill. And then she happened to see some of the stuff that was in the boxes. Well, they ended up not making it to Goodwill. Hey, wait, this is Mom's cup. Mom would never have noticed those cups missing.
They were intercepted.
I think they're still in the back of my car. So they will make it back to Goodwill, just not when Julia's with me.
Do you think clutter or hoarding is inherited and passed down?
Quite possibly. We didn't grow up in a hoarded house. I didn't grow up in a hoarded house. We're 15 years apart.
Yeah, by the time I came along, it was definitely hoarded, because we've had this conversation where you said, "Oh no, the house was neat."
Yes.
And by the time I came along, I remember, because I have pictures of me in my childhood bedroom that I had shared with Grandma, and it was so messy. It was just crazy. And I remember not being able to have, friends over for but you when I see the photos from when you guys were a kid, you had people over for birthdays every year. You had
Saturday was a major cleaning day, and then during the week, by the time Mom and Dad came home, we had chores. So certain chores had to be done, and the house had to be cleaned and picked up. And so hoarding or clutter was never a problem growing up. So, but in the later years, yes, it became quite a different thing. So I don't know. I tend to have some of the tendencies that my mom has. If you need washcloths, you're not just going to buy one or two. You're going to buy maybe 12 because you get them on sale, or you're afraid of running out of things. I tend to buy things in clusters. So that's not a good habit, I guess, instead of just buying what you need. And that's a new concept that, I don't have to buy a whole case of pasta. I can just buy one box at a time.
That's interesting then, because based on what you're saying, it sounds like Mom and Dad, they started out not having a hoarded situation,
yes.
but years later, without a doubt, we both agree the house was...
Well, they love going to Costco and buying things in bulk.
Yes.
And we used to always joke if something ever happened like the apocalypse, we were going to go to Mom and Dad's house because they had a whole hoarder of food, right?
Yes, they did.
Yes,
so
they did.
Much. Oh my gosh.
A lot of it ended up being wasted and thrown out,
and that was just one of the many things that were hoarded, like a lot of clothes with tags on that were never... A lot of stuff from the 99-cent store, a lot of stuff from the Dollar Tree. Like Mommy loved shopping at all of those cheap stores, Ross
If you notice, a lot of that happened after she retired.
Yeah, that's true.
After she retired, that just took the place of going to work. That became her new thing. She loved going out.
For those things, yeah. But before that, she was a book hoarder, though.
Yes.
She would hoard books. She'd buy them on wholesale or what? But I remember my room later when it was just my
Oh,
room,
yes.
filled with books. So I grew up surrounded by books, which was great because I loved reading, but that room was just her books were all over
I
in the shelf.
remember that
The
is
shelves
true.
were just filled with her books. And then in the garage there was that one wall that was
Oh, that
all books, like floor to ceiling, just
and old books. You'd go to these old secondhand bookstores and just buy out what they had.
yes, tons of books. I mean, we're talking
Imagine a whole
thousands.
garage wall just full of nothing but books.
Yeah, sounds like though you had a similar trajectory where you didn't wait until you were retired, but like I remember your house, like are your places that you would maybe rent before you bought this house because you've been here now almost 25 years, but I remember previous apartments or condos that you lived in, they weren't,
Oh,
they were
not
not,
even close.
not
No,
even close,
not at all. Not at
not at
all.
all.
No.
Like your first house when you got married
We
was
were a
very.
young couple, both working, and
Mm.
shopping wasn't a big deal then. I mean, I did always love going to thrift stores, but we were a busy couple raising two kids, and we just didn't have time or the money to do those things.
Different lifestyle at that
Different
time
lifestyle.
and different financial means too because you're raising two young kids and you're both working full time and it was before online shopping too.
It was
It
before
was a different
online
time.
shopping was before the internet,
Mm-hmm.
and then back then my focus was my family because I remember a girlfriend at work buying me an Avon set, and we used to look at the Avon books, and she bought it for me because she says, you know, I always see you looking at this stuff, and I know you'd never buy it for yourself. And that's true because your focus is on the family and buying things for the home. And I loved that. It was a lavender bath set, and I would use that at night, and I loved it.
Wow.
But she's right, I never would have spent the money on myself.
What made you want to declutter your house now? Were you motivated to get it done before the new year or did Carla inspire you or some other reason? What made you want to do it now?
Well, I've always wanted to do it, but I think watching your channel really inspired me. And I think it was Christina that reached out to you
Yes.
for help.
Originally, her daughter had mentioned that you guys were going to get a dumpster.
Yeah, yes.
And I said,
Kind of
oh, I
garage.
said, well, you know, if you want help, I could film it for my channel. And so that's kind of how the whole
Yes.
the whole thing of actually filming it started. But what made you guys even want to get the dumpster? What made you guys even get to that point?
Oh, well, we've always wanted to do it, and just oh, and she wanted to make the our den that we had into a room for Xander, and so we'd have to move out the couches and the furniture, and so that started to to declutter because stuff has to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And then I also wanted to move my office back out from my bedroom back into the office room,
Which was the junk room.
which was the junk room.
Yeah.
Yes, because I feel I'd be more productive working from the office like I used to. And then we did do the Airbnb.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, over the summer, and saw how nice it was and how we didn't need a lot of things, and that was just a real relaxing week. And we did the dishes every night. We put everything away when we used it, and it was just very easy to maintain.
I feel like that's part of like when you're in a place like an Airbnb or even when you're in your own home and you get it to a place where it's clean, then you feel more inspired to keep it clean. Like kind of how you said you were doing the dishes every night. Whereas if you're here, you probably don't care about because it's almost like you get to a place where you're like,
You get overwhelmed.
who cares?
Like, it's just so overwhelmed. But even the cabinet that we did here, the armoire,
Yes.
right? So that space now, I know where it goes. When I use something, I put it right back. And I know if I need a nail clipper or something, I know exactly where to go for it or to get a hair product or something because they're all in one place. So that has been working out pretty well.
Yeah. You said in the past you weren't compulsive about food. Was it the pandemic that instilled the fear in you? And what made you make the change and ask for help? She says, I'm just amazed at you. Also, I know from experience that now you will want to do a second and third pass over the things you kept.
Oh, definitely. And yes, the pandemic did start. Before the pandemic, the food we had was just mainly in the kitchen. And so when you started hearing about shortages and the trucking situation and things being held up at the port and the uncertainty, and then watching all the prepper YouTube channels, because that was never a thing for me. I didn't really know much about the preppers or anything. So you start going down the rabbit hole with everyone else and the uncertainties. You wanted to make sure you always had food and things like that. And then, of course, you go overboard because, well, they tell you need to have 3 months worth of food or 6 months worth of food. What does that look like, right? And so, yes, it did go overboard. But at some point now, I realized that part of it is just having faith and trust that what you need will always be provided. It always has been. And then I remember my parents, they weren't preppers. They had a whole wall of food in their garage. It was just a pantry and so much food in there. And if they had been preppers, they would have been well prepared. But I realized that the majority of that food ended up being wasted, expiring. And so I really don't want to have the same situation, where to have all this food and that it end up never being used.
A lot of people relate to the food scarcity from the comments I'm seeing and the questions. All right, questions for your beautiful sister. I guess they mean you. Okay. What's your plan going forward?
My plan going forward is to make multiple passes, of course. The first pass is always the hardest in deciding what to get rid of and what to keep. And I would like to just have the essentials. Life is so much easier when you don't have too many things to take care of, and to have a routine, to establish a routine. And so, but when the house gets to this kind of state and it's overly cluttered, you tend to feel overwhelmed, and you tend to feel like you don't know what to do next, so you don't get much done. As far as that, you get the basics, the very minimal done. And I noticed that when things are decluttered and minimal, like my drawers and things like that, it's easy to put things away where they go. Whereas when it's in a cluttered state, you have like light bulbs over here and light bulbs over there, and light bulbs over there, because that's where you can fit them in. So it would be like nice to have a nice functional house, and just replace things as you need them. So it is establishing new habits. And as I'm getting older, this is just too much to try to maintain and take care of. And you just want a simpler life, so I can focus on the things I've always wanted to do instead of spending a lot of my time managing clutter.
What role, if any, does depression play in your clutter?
Oh, I think it plays a big part, because it does rob you of your energy. Sometimes you just come home and you just don't feel like doing anything, and you feel overwhelmed. Sometimes you don't know where to start, so you don't start. But the areas that we have decluttered, I find they're a lot easier to maintain. Like, we put the vacuum where it goes, so we always know where to find it. The step stool, we always know where to find it. When everything has its place, we're not looking for things like we're looking for the trash bags now.
There is still way too much stuff in this house. We're nowhere near done, because this is, like you said, it's the first pass of probably several. The house is very much in a state of flux, because we cleared one room and a lot of that stuff ended up back into the living room. And now her daughter has moved into that room. And so they're finishing clearing out that room. And then the den was cleared out, which they've never seen on camera. So things have been moved and relocated so many times, and there's still just a lot of stuff to sort through.
We're still working through.
Do you feel like buying, like when you're in a state of feeling either like overwhelmed, defeated, depressed, any of those, like, does the buying play into that?
There must be some kind of endorphin rush or some kind of thing that you do, because I still find myself getting caught up in just wasting time shopping, even though I'm not buying it. I catch myself still, I'm going to look for tops, right?
Yeah.
So, and I'll go on eBay or Amazon, and I will spend an hour or so looking at different tops. But in the end, I end up not buying it, but that's an hour I could have been spending doing something else. So I still have the impulse to shop. So there must be some kind of emotional benefit that I get from doing that.
Oh, yeah. It's like a dopamine hit or something, right? I mean, I don't know if the searching part does it or if it's the buying part, or maybe it's both.
Well,
because you said you're not buying, you're just shopping.
No, I'm aware that, I will buy stuff and probably never even open the box or use it. So being aware of that stops me from actually purchasing it, right?
Okay.
Because it's just going down the same rabbit hole. Why even do that? And then I think of all the money when I want to retire. I want to live I want my life to be less stress, less clutter. I like to be able to do the things that I've, set aside and haven't done. And I look at all the money that I have spent on this stuff that could have been to fix the roof, or to do a repair on the home, or just to have extra money in the bank. And these things could have been experiences, could have been like traveling somewhere.
I hope you're enjoying our little chat. One of the things my sister and I have always connected on is our love for setting goals. And at the start of a new year, I always like to pick one, maybe two big things that I want to change or big goals that I want to accomplish. This year, I am focused on my fitness and getting in amazing shape. And in order to make this happen, I have to have support. My favorite form of support is therapy, one-on-one therapy, group therapy. I want to tell you about the sponsor of today's video, BetterHelp. BetterHelp provides online therapy services. And I think one of the things that stops people from trying therapy is it's overwhelming to find a therapist. It can feel intimidating. With BetterHelp, you can have a session via phone, video call, or messaging, whatever is most comfortable for you. I love to have my therapy via video chat because then the therapist can see my body language. They have over 30,000 therapists in their network. You fill out a questionnaire online. What are you struggling with? What kind of therapist would you like? And you can put in as much info as you want. I like to be really thorough and detailed. Like for me, with my goal of getting in shape, I know I'm an emotional eater and I need support around that. Otherwise, I self-sabotage. And so I go into very specific detail. BetterHelp takes all of that information and then matches me with the right therapist. If you don't gel with your therapist, you don't have to break up with them. BetterHelp will just reassign you a new one. I've gotten through a lot of different seasons of my life with the support of a therapist. Right out the gate, my first therapist with BetterHelp, we clicked. She got me. I felt heard, I felt seen, and it's just very convenient for my lifestyle to be able to do virtual therapy. I think therapy is one of those things that can really improve the quality of your life. It's definitely improved the quality of my life. Join over 4 million people who've used BetterHelp to start living a healthier, happier life. Click the link in the description or visit betterhelp.com/Carla Project. Clicking that link not only supports this channel, but it gets you 10% off your first month of BetterHelp so you can connect with the therapist and see if it helps you. Thanks to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's video. Let's get back to the conversation.
So I'm realizing it's not, look how much clothes I gave away.
Yeah.
How much, and I do find that I do enjoy buying things for others. I do get something from the shopping itself because I will buy something for a family member or buy something because I enjoy buying.
Because I've been thinking about that with working with all these different people and their clutter, like diagnosing what part mostly affects them having a cluttered home.
Yeah.
Like in my case, it was I don't buy, I don't think as much, but I definitely accumulate. Like I would get a lot of free stuff on the streets because in my neighborhood people are always giving away free things, and I'd pick up things for free. I win things for free. I go to events, I get things for free. I was a magnet for, or if there's samples of stuff, I love free. If there's something at a hotel for free, I take it home with me. I would even take chopsticks from restaurants, like just any little thing that was free. That was like one of my magnets, was like, because I love free stuff. So I was like a magnet for that. And that was a weird thing. I would hoard it too. Like the smaller the amount, the more I would hoard it. And so like your thing, it sounds like more the buying piece. You're not even as so much of someone who holds on to stuff. You're able to let it go. Whereas other people I've worked with, they might have a really hard time letting go of things.
It is kind of hard to let it go. You have to think of it as a process. Like I had these nice handbags that I thought, I'll sell them on eBay, and I ended up selling one, but it took such a lot of work and time and process, and I ended up giving those handbags away to Goodwill, right?
Yeah.
Because I had spent good money on them, right?
Yeah.
But they had sat in my closet for years. They'd just been in a bag in my closet, not even being used.
Yeah.
Right? Especially since after COVID, when I only go into the office one day a week. So it's not like I was going into the office daily and taking handbags and things like that. So, and I realized that I have all this stuff, but I'm utilizing maybe 10% of it.
Right.
So that's wasted time and wasted space and wasted energy. That makes it easier to get rid of it when you think of it that way. Took a lot of stuff from our family home.
Oh, yes, that's right.
A lot of the stuff never even made it from the garage into the house. And so that was a big lesson to me too, because it seems like, this is useful. We could still use this, even though we don't need this. So it
like that mirror that was in the garage that never was used. It just moved from the garage in Carson to the garage here.
Well, growing up, I always wanted a mirror like that. But then bringing it here and just seeing it sitting there, there, and thinking, but I've always wanted this mirror. But, our home is too small for that mirror. I don't need the mirror.
Yes.
So then, I never made it from the garage into the home.
Yes.
So it's things like that. And and I understand that the free things too, right?
Yeah.
Wanting the things that are free. And it's just overconsumption.
Yes.
And the clutter it wears on you. And it's tiring. Like living in the Airbnb, You know, I only had like a little handful of clothes, but it was so easy and it was nice and it was relaxful and we had enough. And it was easy to clean the kitchen at night. It was easy to keep things clean, you know, to keep your clothes organized and things like that because you didn't have a lot of things to manage.
Well, I think it's a little bit different though. You can't really fully compare vacation life to day life because when you go on vacation like that, it is simplified because you're living in a capsule version of your life. There's things we need in our home that we don't need when we're on vacation.
It shows you how I don't need 3 closets full of clothes.
Oh, yes.
I need more than a week's worth of clothes, right?
Yeah.
But I don't need like 3 closets full of clothes. I don't need pots and pans that are in the pantry and is in the office and in the, you know, you just need your basic things that you use. So yes, you do utilize more things, but you tend to like, how many pot sets do I need? How many spatulas? How many things, especially in a smaller home?
How many tools do you need is the question. You don't get rid of a single tool. Well, for some reason, but you guys have multiple.
Things are because we couldn't find one tool. And like the trash bags, what do we do now? We went out to go buy some more. There's a lot of trash bags somewhere else.
Yeah, but like we found like, let's say 7 hammers. Like why do you have 7 hammers?
That's James. He said we don't get rid of tools, right?
Yeah, but James can't have that much saved. There are so many tools. But I mean, that's just one category that I was like, why are there multiples? I don't know the point of having multiples really.
Yes,
of a lot of things.
As we start to declutter, we can like get rid of some of the hammers. There are times when we're looking for a hammer, right?
Well, that's what's difficult because I think when you have like too much stuff, you can't even find the thing you're looking for. Whereas if you have just like a simple toolbox, you know, where your hammer, your screwdriver, and your drill is, or whatever, you know.
Yes.
So some of that stuff I think is just simplification of, because it's about decluttering, but it's also simplifying.
Yes, and a lot of times you do have multiple items because you can't find an item because of the clutter.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah,
yes,
exactly.
Yes.
You go end up buying another one or buying it. Yeah.
Yes, that's why we have about 5 drills.
At least. Okay, someone's asking, what type of work do you do?
Oh, I'm a data programmer, building databases and reporting and techie stuff.
Yeah, tech stuff. What's your favorite meal to make for your family?
My daughter, she's really the cook. She can take anything we have and make it delicious.
That's true.
So so she's really the cook. So I don't really have a favorite.
Yeah, you don't cook much really now, huh?
No, just quick things.
Yes. What's your favorite fun things to do?
I like gardening. I like reading. I'm an avid bookworm. I like anything technical. I used to enjoy like building websites.
Writing.
I do enjoy writing. Conspiracy theories. I enjoy conspiracy theories. I tried to keep a straight face.
She's not lying though.
So many rabbit holes.
Yeah, she likes going down rabbit holes. Oh my gosh. What are your goals going into 2024?
To declutter the home, to make necessary repairs for the home, to develop a routine, an established routine, and to make some life changes.
Like what?
As far as
like what does that mean?
Finding a creative outlet. Everything revolves mainly around work, and to get healthier. I tend to focus mostly on my job. I spend a lot of hours, and I don't have to spend so much time, but I tend to put my job first. Mm-hmm. Instead of going for a morning walk, I will boot up my computer and start working even if it's 7 a.m. And I don't have to do that. And that's probably an excuse just not to go walking. But I'd like my focus to be more so on myself.
Okay.
Even if I'm not at my job, that I can't live for my job because whether I'm there or not, my job will always get done by somebody.
Right.
So I really need to have myself be a priority. Mm-hmm. And so I like to get healthier, get rid of some of this clutter, body clutter. Mm-hmm. And remember I used to go running. I used to be active. And as I'm getting older, I do realize how important it is to maintain a healthy weight, to have healthy habits. When you're living in a cluttered environment, it's harder to do those things because I do think the clutter is very draining.
Yeah. It's almost like which one comes first. Is it like the clutter is a reflection of the way you're feeling, or the clutter impacts the way you're feeling? They both kind of feed off of each other.
Yes, definitely.
What 3 or 4 changes so far have made the biggest difference in your day-to-day life?
Well, the areas that we have decluttered, because it does start a chain reaction. So like the little areas, like even in my bedroom that I've decluttered, I'm putting things like the cabinet that we decluttered out there. That's been easy to maintain because like items are with like items, and that has made a big difference. Just putting things back where they go, having a space for everything to go, and then not bringing more stuff into the house as well.
Does Sherry see herself one day soon being the person who helps others declutter and let go of compulsive shopping?
What do you think, Carla?
I will answer that for her. I would say no. I think your gifts lie elsewhere. She's a really talented writer. I think she would probably more likely want to spend, you'd probably more likely want to spend your time doing like writing,
Yes.
or, you know, some sort of creative project, or even starting a YouTube channel, like something like that. Whereas I loved this, I love the decluttering, but you wouldn't want to do this for other people.
You know, it's a journey, and just making the changes to going forward.
No change happens all in a straight line and perfectly. Like that's the one thing I'd want to say about, you know, working on this project with you is that's difficult, is like with YouTube, because it's a video, you want to see a before and after.
Yes.
And I do like the big challenges, like when we did the garage, that was a really big one, you know, to do that as before and after. But a lot of the real deal decluttering is just whatever time we both can carve out and the energy we have, and you can't always do a big before and after. Sometimes it's just a little bit at a time. The reality of like decluttering an entire home and many years of habits and trying to make a change on a deep level, like it takes time. You can take 5 steps forward and take 4 steps back, but you still took a step forward. Even when you're doing 5 steps forward, 4 steps back, you still are moving forward.
It's part of the process.
Yes, it really is. My sister is a hoarder in denial. How would you initiate a conversation with someone who doesn't recognize they have an issue?
Oh, that's a hard one, because if they don't recognize they have an issue.
Yeah, someone else asked similarly, for your sister, what advice would you give someone trying to help a family member declutter? I'm constantly trying to encourage my grandparents to declutter, and it's happening at a snail's pace.
That is a really tough one, because imagine if we tried to ask our mom to declutter, right?
Yeah.
Like that would not have gone well.
No, never. That's the thing. I don't think you can really.
No.
The person has to come to you, I think. You can't
they have to realize.
Yeah, you can just share your own thing. You can say, oh, I just cleaned out my closet and it feels great. Or, oh, I'm dropping off some stuff at Goodwill, or whatever, you know, that might inspire them just by hearing someone say your own thing that you're doing. But I don't think you can really get someone to declutter who's not asking for it.
Even my dad was afraid to clean the garage while she was on vacation.
That's right.
Remember?
Yes, that's right. Yep.
He might throw out something that.
Oh my gosh! And you would not hear the end of it if you threw out anything. So it was impossible to declutter while mommy was alive. That's for sure.
Yes. Oh yes.
There was no decluttering.
No.
Not possible.
Everything was necessary or had a reason to.
Yes,
keep.
Everything. And even daddy, like he was a different kind of hoarder, because he wasn't really a hoarder.
I think he enjoyed the buying.
Yeah, he enjoyed the buying.
The going out and buying, but he had no.
He wasn't as attached to the stuff.
Well, no, I found Christmas presents unopened or they were opened once. Like he liked getting things, right?
Oh, yes.
But they were
never used.
Yes.
Yes, he loved getting things, but he wouldn't even necessarily use them.
Remember the weight set he wanted?
Yeah, weight set. I remember some robot he wanted.
Oh, yes.
Always some gadget. Maybe was used once.
And he gave us a real hard time teasingly till we got it for him.
Yes.
And we only saw it once.
Exactly, yeah. But it also makes me think of how it is like an internal thing, because I remember his desk that was in the sunroom, you know, it would always have like 100 Post-it notes and 100 lotto tickets. They would always buy the lotto tickets, and they wouldn't even check to see if they won the lotto. And I remember once collecting all the lotto tickets, putting them in a plastic bag, going on the website and going one at a time. But they expire if you don't claim it. But I actually found some that hadn't expired, that had won, you know, like like $2 here or whatever. But they would just buy the lotto week after week, never check to see if they won it even. And then I remember once I cleaned up his whole entire desk, got it all organized, because I have always liked organizing. Even though I'm a messy person, I've always liked organizing.
You've always been good at that.
Yeah, I have always been good at that. And so I organized the whole entire desk. And I remember like maybe within, I'd say within a month, it was right back to what it was, just completely. It was like as if I had never been there. It was just right back to what it was. Let's say like same amount of post-it notes, same amount of a lot of tickets. You really have to want to change.
Well,
but again, he wasn't asking for help.
No,
that was me inserting myself and helping. He wasn't saying, I really want to change. I really want a neat desk.
No, I think yes, you really and I really, really want to change. I realize what the clutter is doing to me. I realize what I'm losing financially, health-wise, peace of mind, quality of life. There's so many different things.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep. What's your biggest takeaway from the process so far?
Is that it takes time. And you have to be careful not to burn yourself out. Not rushing it, kind of.
Yeah.
But being consistent.
Yeah.
Being consistent with it. And like even when we didn't feel like doing anything that day and we did it for 20 minutes, right?
Yes.
And that made a difference, right?
Yeah.
We got rid of those things.
Yeah.
And they're gone. And, you know, that's a little chunk of clutter that we no longer have to manage or take care of. So things like that, or even just doing this cabinet, which I'm enjoying the benefits of now, right? And then it spills over into other areas too. And so as you're getting different smaller areas decluttered, it changes how you do the other areas of your home, and you're more cognizant of putting things away. Or, you know, when things are in chaos, it doesn't matter where you put something, right?
Yes.
And that's why you're looking for it later.
And one of the things I would say too that helps is the with just being committed to the process is the public accountability, because the fact that she agreed to film the series that has kept you on track, right? Because haven't there been so many times where you didn't really want to do decluttering on a Saturday or Sunday? If you didn't have this commitment, you wouldn't.
True. But it is helping me so much because yes, we are making progress. We are doing leeways, and even if we're tired or don't feel like it, we make room to do something, right?
Yeah, something's better than nothing, for sure. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
They want to know, what prepping channels do you watch?
Prepper channels?
Yeah, prepper channel. Do you have any favorite prepper channels? We're not trying to spread that information here. We don't want you going out and buying a whole bunch of stuff for your pantries.
Well, no, I have watched the Alaskan Prepper was one I used to watch. I'm not so much into prepper channels now. Gosh, there was one Princess Prepper, mainly around COVID time. COVID time was when I was watching those, but I'm not into those channels now.
Good. Okay, that's helpful. So this question is, someone says, Sherry reminds me of me and my sister affectionately. If being overwhelmed with items is a problem, what % of the cause is between shopping, storing, consuming?
What % of the cause?
Yeah, like would you say your big issue, like the reason that your home is the state that it's in, is it a buying problem? Is it a storing problem? Or is it a consuming problem, which I guess means
it's a buying problem and a shopping problem, because a lot of the stuff doesn't even get consumed.
That's so true. So then it's a lack of consumption of the stuff that you're buying.
It's a lack of consumption of the stuff because we're buying more than we.
And you don't have the storage space to have the amount that you have. Like if you had like a 4,000 square foot home or something, I guess, in a walk-in pantry.
We just have more things to store, right?
So it's a question for both of us. Say you were both given complete say and control over each other's house and possessions. What is the one item you would get rid of in each other's house and why? Oh, I thought they were going to say I get to have total control over. I'm going to give my answer first. Okay. If I had complete say and control over the house, here's how I would set it up. Okay. I would want to do...
No.
I would want to do like that old show. There was a show called Clean Sweep a long time ago where they would completely empty the room. I'd repaint the house, fix the flooring, like change the floor so it's all uniform. And then I would get rid of probably 50% of the furniture, because I think there's too much furniture.
Yeah,
I think there's too much furniture for the space.
I do agree.
I think you've done a great job with decluttering your clothes. I would fix the part of your kitchen to be turned into a pantry with a slide out drawers.
That's a good idea. That's something James could do.
And probably just downsize everything by like a good 65% or 70%.
I agree.
Yeah. Yes. And I think the house would look amazing. You wouldn't miss or want for anything. Yeah. Okay. If you were given complete control over my possessions in my house, what is the one item you would get rid of and why?
I would get rid of the furnace that doesn't work.
Oh, yeah.
I would take that out.
I would love that.
I don't know how thick the wall is, but even put in some recessed shelving.
That's exactly what I would want to do for that space.
Yes.
I would do a cove shaped book, like just with shelves, just
Yes.
like archway.
Yes.
I would love that.
That's what I would
that's
do,
a good.
'cause
That's a great one because it's just an eyesore and it doesn't even work. It's never worked since I've
Yes.
lived there. So okay, let's see. For your sister, you are such a warm and caring person. Oh, they're talking about you. Okay. Do you think you've shopped in the past for the rush, worry, or to fill something? I'm working on being more mindful myself.
For the rush and to fill something. Because I realize that sometimes it's the buying, because I like just even buying for my granddaughter or my daughter. So it's the shopping itself. 'Cause
Okay.
I always ask them, do you want something? Because, grandma wants to buy.
You want to buy? So someone says, your sister mentioned her coworkers were preppers. I wonder if they need help with decluttering too. Probably, huh?
Yes.
You said you have a free counter at work where people will put things out, right? And it's
yes,
always
yes, and that stuff always
it
disappears.
goes. How many more rooms in your home need decluttering?
So my bedroom, that's 1. The kitchen, that's 2. The dining room could do another pass. The hallway, definitely. The garage again, because that's where a lot of the extra stuff went in that couldn't fit in there before. Oh, then Julia's room.
Oh yeah,
That's
Julie's
between
room.
you and her.
Yeah. Someone wants to know if you have a partner,
No, I don't have a partner.
but you have ex-husband married many years ago.
Yes, but he passed away.
Yes, that's right.
He passed away. But I'm always open.
She's open. Yes. Single and ready to mingle.
Well, single.
Would you say decluttering is hard work?
Oh, yes. Decluttering is very hard work. It's very hard work, especially deciding what to let go of. That to me is the hardest thing. And then it's after, once you've gotten rid of it, it's not having regret.
Yeah. Have you had that experience where you feel regret over getting rid of anything?
My chair.
She's feeling regret over getting rid of
I
that
love
floral
that chair.
chair.
Yes.
I feel bad for you that you got rid of that because it would have worked well in the office.
Yes, and it's so comfortable. And I have looked at other chairs, but I still want that floral chair.
Yeah, that was.
It was old fashioned, but it's my style.
Yeah.
And it was very comfortable.
How do you deal with the regret from decluttering something that something you let go of and it's gone now?
The regret isn't deep because it's not like it's not replaceable. And it's part of the process. And I would rather do the process and make mistakes along the way than not do it at all.
Oh, yeah. I love
So-
that. That is such a good attitude. That's such a great way to think about it. Yeah. Because I think that's a big fear people have is regretting getting rid of something. Like, it's like, then you're going to be in this prison of regret. And it's like, no, it's okay to make mistakes. That's part of life. With whatever process you're in.
Well, look at the stuff that Mom collected, right? And so a lot of that stuff never got to be enjoyed or utilized, right?
Yes.
But imagine how much difference the home could have been enjoyed, especially in your older years, neat and clutter free, and and so I realized that, and I don't want that to be my issue. As I get older, I want to live in a nice, clean home,
Clutter free.
Yes, without all the clutter. And and to have my later years, whatever 40 plus years I have left,
Yes.
to
Spend it doing things that you enjoy or
yes, and so think of all the stuff that that we hold on to that we don't even remember we have. So we don't even need it, right? There is a cost to clutter.
Yeah, there is.
There's definitely a cost. And there is the struggle of throwing away stuff that seems good, but I watch the hoarder videos, hoarders and all of that.
Yes.
And you look at all of that stuff, but it is, at the end of the day, it is just stuff.
What tips do you have for the helper? In my case, in your case, it's I'm helping you. So
Yes.
if someone's offering to help a family member or friend, what makes it helpful for you? Like, what tips do you have?
To not be judgmental,
Oh, yeah.
to have a little bit of firmness, to like when you ask me, like, do you really need this, or what are you going to use do it for, right? So sometimes I might push back because I feel I really need it, but other times I'll think, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I can let go of this. Whereas I was just going to keep it, right?
Yes.
And so, so it's kind of like a flexibility. But
That's a good point. And also, I think it helps to ask those questions, and I can tell sometimes like with certain things you'll be like, oh no, this I need, like you'll know, and to other things you'll say, oh yeah, I'm gonna use that, and then I'll ask more questions, and then I think just having the dialogue helps
Yes.
loosen up the grip on something that you think your initial reaction might be, oh, I'm gonna keep that, I need that, I want that, but then once you have it, you think it through, you talk about it, you might come to your own conclusion. Because I remember even I've in the past when I've wanted help with decluttering, and my friend Viviana, she would be, because I think I'm pretty cutthroat, yeah, and she would say, she would go, and it's because she's so neat, and she would go around my desk and be like, what do you need? You don't need this. You don't need that. You don't need that. And I would say, no. She's like, nope, you don't need it. And I'd be like, gosh, she's right. I really don't need it, but I was going to keep it. Or I don't know, just like, I love
between need and want.
Huge difference. And very, very few things like, and also you can become blind to your clutter. You don't even realize it. You just think like, oh no, I've always had that on my desk. I had like a little Eiffel Tower figurine thing for years. It just was invisible almost to me. I didn't even notice it.
You of Paris.
Yeah, but it was like I didn't really need it, and I don't miss it at all.
Yes.
One of those mini things, which I have other things that remind me of Paris, probably in my house that are maybe more meaningful than like one. I had it for years though. But how do you deal with items that are more sentimental?
I'm finding for myself personally, as I get older, I'm less sentimental. And so, like when we found those little 2 books that belonged to Mom, right, and they were older, I asked you, do you want them, right?
Yeah.
So I find when I was younger, I was more wanting to hold on to sentimental things. But as I get older, and especially if they're not sentimental to the people that I will leave behind.
Yeah. Oh.
Then what's the point, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas before, and it is a change of mindset too, but I do find that I am less sentimental. I remember when Grandma was giving her stuff away.
Oh, I wish I had one of her dresses. She always had those colorful pattern dresses.
Oh, yes. Yeah, see, that would have been sentimental to you.
But never
right?
had a chance to go through any of her things.
No, everything happened so quickly.
Yeah. So that I think for sentimental for me, it's like if I have like, of a handful of maybe like 5 things.
Yes.
Of the person or the event or whatever. Not even 5, maybe 1. I think the only thing I would think of with Grandma would probably be one of her dresses.
Yes. So see, and that's a difference than having like, a whole room full of things.
Yes, yeah.
Right.
What impact would you say the buying, the shopping, the consuming, has that had a negative impact, on you financially? Yeah, I guess what cost has the clutter been?
Emotional cost, especially as we're doing this. And I'm realizing, and financially as well, as I realize the wasted money.
Okay.
Like
so it emotionally,
all of this stuff could have been like a new roof, like I said before.
Yeah. Oh,
or even maybe redoing the kitchen, upgrading it, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So there's so many things, like the stuff that is going out of the house now, the extra stuff that money was spent on, could have been things to upgrade the home.
Yeah.
So and I did go through a period, especially after we cleaned the garage, of sadness of how I mismanaged the finances that way, right?
Yeah.
Just wasted money. Or it could have been a trip to Hawaii. Remember we went to Hawaii?
Yes.
That was wonderful, right? So, and especially when you're getting rid of the clutter, what benefit did it give me to have all these things that I don't even really like utilize or care that much about, right? It could have been, the money could have been managed better.
Okay, so you do
but
feel
it's
that.
Also a learning, but then I also realized that it's, in life, it's a learning experience. And and I'm grateful that that I'm learning and I'm trying to change.
I remember going through all of the stuff, and it was just so much wasted money, like so much of Costco buying, of buying in bulk, of buying things on trips, like 20 t-shirts.
Bag of Toblerone chocolates that we would have enjoyed so much, but by then they were rancid.
Probably good we didn't get those.
Would have added an extra 10
pounds each. Easily.
The ham and sausage sets must have been like a Christmas clearance.
Yes.
And I remember Carla and I going through and throwing bags of them out because they had molded.
You might have had in the past made those mistakes with buying or purchasing or like mismanaged money, which I think so many people have. Whether it's being bought on clutter or like who knows, all kinds. It's just part of life. Making those. Yeah.
It's learning from your mistakes.
Yeah, it's exactly. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed an insight into behind the scenes of my sister Sherry. This has been the most popular series on my channel, so I know you guys have been inspired by just her willingness, her vulnerability, her showing a very like lived in home, the fact that she shares the home with other people. And so I think there's so much that's relatable to people that are in very similar situations, like multiple generations in the house, wanting to make a change, wanting to change like buying decisions, purchasing, storing, relating to the post-pandemic decisions of like hoarding things, whether it's like toilet paper, pantry stuff, whatever. So I feel like there's like 10 different points that people, all different people relate to.
Yes.
That's why it's so popular.
And I appreciate all of the kind comments. It makes such a huge difference to me, and it encourages me.
Yeah.
You know, it's and so I really appreciate the kindness and the tips.
Yes.
And
yeah, we were saying off camera, she was saying, oh, your audience is so kind, right?
Yes.
Because
yes,
you guys have
kind.
really kept it so kind and encouraging, and it does not go unnoticed. It's a big reason why we're able to keep going and continue.
Oh yes.
And to just keep showing just the realness of what's going on. So
very appreciated.
Yeah,
Great.
want to say thank you, and
Thank you.
hope that you've enjoyed this video, and we'll be back with more decluttering very soon.
Thank you.
Bye.